Cloud, nothing's a fucking back, dude, yay! Big fan of the very raw and reflective Attack on Memory, the very explosive and catchy Here and Nowhere Else. Both really, really enjoyable albums. Highly recommend them. Elements of noise rock, post-punk, post-hardcore. Dylan Boldy, one of my favorite lead vocalists in music, honestly. I fucking love his voice. I think he performs with an insane amount of passion and adrenaline. The drummer of this band is ridiculous too. And yeah, they dropped an album last year in January that I thought was insanely safe and flat and devoid of much in the way of charm or personality. It's called Life Without Sound. Did not enjoy it that much. It was a real letdown. And it just definitely lacked the bite of those other two albums that I mentioned earlier. Fortunately, this new one has the bite in fucking bucket loads, okay? This is easily the most aggressive and full throttle, high octane, like in-your-face album in their discography. It's pretty fucking noisy. The production on this thing it's just rough, it's aggressive, the performances are so impassioned, and lyrically, it's some of the most personal and bleak I think we've ever heard from them too, like the opening track, On an Edge. There is so much pent-up anger and anxiety surrounding the idea of wasting time and like being stuck in a routine that's just monotonous and it's just wasting your life away, and you're just facing the crushing harsh reality that time is limited. And there's just so much just frustration on this song. It's just so tangible. And the pummeling drum work, the thunderous riffs on this fucking track all perfectly accentuate these themes too. And I love the ending of the song too. The outro is just such a great climax. In Shame, I thought had the strongest riffs on the whole album. They're fucking so catchy, man. I fucking love the guitar riffs on this thing. I love how it progresses into the second half of the track too. There's a moment on this track where it just kind of kicks into overdrive with these just fucking pummeling drums, and then it transitions really nicely into the final hook, which is the most aggressive hook, and it just makes for such a fulfilling ending to the song. And the lyrics about feeling like nothing you'll ever do will amount to anything, and you're just stuck just in shame. I thought was really powerful. The Echo of the World, great single from the album. I remember hearing it when it first dropped. I thought it was awesome. I love the lyrics of just like kind of the cycle of the world. How everything in the world just sort of echoes itself and kind of comes full circle. There are themes of just kind of like mortality and just like spending your time as wisely as possible and shit like that. And I love the instrumental sequence around, I think it's like just midway through the song, like the middle sequence is just this really subdued but just like frustrated instrumental sequence that just has so much emotional power to it. And the way the ending just comes in with the echo of the world, he's just screaming, it's such a brilliant ending. There are so many great finishes on this album, man. I really loved, it's like I said, the same thing for the track Dissolution as well, which is the big 10-minute centerpiece of the album. And this track, I actually enjoyed the song quite a bit individually on its own. I think it's really interesting. I like how much desperation is being displayed through the lyrics and the vocals, how he's just sort of like clinging onto this person and just begging them to stay. And I think his performance sells that 100%. And I love how this track starts off with these riffs that have a bit of warmth to them, and then you get like this fucking fantastic drumming sequence, which is absolutely, it's intense as shit. But the middle sequence with those drums has so much bite to it. And then that transitions into an ending that is just absolutely unhinged. I think it uses up its 10 minutes really nicely. My only problem with this track is it kind of goes against what was making the album appealing in the first place, and it's a bit of an awkward moment in context with the record. Because what this album was doing so well up until this point was just sort of compacting these really angry and just anxious just bursts of just frustration and adrenaline that it's just all really nicely written, really blunt, and it's just packaging them into these really catchy and direct noise rock inspired just like post-hardcore tracks that just hit you over the fucking head. Like, and the brief track lengths, like 3-4 minutes, well ordered, well structured, well paced. And you have this track, which is just this 10-minute long opus, this huge sprawling thing, and it's a good song, but it just kind of breaks the momentum of what was making the album solid. It just feels a little bit awkward, and then by the time it's done, it just feels like it was just a bit of a sluggish halt in the record. It kind of breaks the flow a little bit, and then you have the final two tracks, which feel like the two most insignificant songs, really. The song's so right, so clean. Doesn't really do anything other tracks didn't already do. I feel like this track just kind of is a lesser version of what came before. There's not much in the way of a memorable hook or riff, really. The performances are okay. It's a pretty inconsequential track. It doesn't really have much of a huge payoff at the end either, like some of the other tracks do. And the final song, Another Way of Life, again, decent song, but this track actually feels like it would fit way better on Here and Nowhere Else. It feels like a leftover from that album to me. It doesn't really pack the same noisy, just rough bite that the other tracks do, so it feels like a bit of a weak, anticlimactic finish overall. But yeah, the first half of this album though is damn solid. Leave Him Now was really solid. I like the lyrics in this track, sort of depicting a crumbling relationship that is hurting both people involved, but it's the only thing that's sort of giving them purpose. So there's just so much aggression and just like frustration again on this track that I think is accentuated really nicely with the fantastic instrumentals too, and the really creative sort of changes in guitar tones on this song was really nice as well. I love how the lyrics on Offer and End kind of establish Dylan Bodie's sort of disconnection from the people around him, how he feels like the real him is always being kept inside. There are some lines about like the facade that he sees everyone else put on every day and shit like that, and the breakdown around 3 minutes I think into the song is one of the most eerie points on the record as well. Overall, I don't think it's fantastic. I think it ends off pretty weakly, and that 10-minute long track just felt like a bit of an awkward halt in the album's flow. But it is really cool to hear them performing with so much passion again and aggression. There's nowhere near as safe as Life Without Sound was. It's a nice, concise burst of adrenaline. I couldn't find a word. For 35 fucking minutes, 8 tracks, it's a damn solid record. I think it's really enjoyable, man. I'm feeling a fucking solid 7 out of 10. This is cool. I recommend Cloud Nothing's new album, Last Burning Building. It's pretty fucking cool. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this new Cloud Nothings. Hope you enjoyed the review. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.